Are you ready for the coming world order? Have you considered where you fit in? Do you truly understand what it is and what is on its way to us? Have you heard about the Noahide Laws? I assure you it's something you may want to know about. Maybe you've heard about it and don't understand it. Maybe you do understand it. And therefore you could watch along and chime in on the comments of your understanding. But this is a very concerning issue. It's not something to take lightly. And I assure you, it's not something you want to ignore. Join us on our walk today as we discuss the importance of understanding the coming Noahide Laws. How's it going? Thanks for tuning in and joining us on this. We're gonna try, it's our goal to try to not take so long to get down to the important points of the subjects that we discuss on here. But of course, you're joining us on our walk, and Whiskey and I get distracted by many things. But today, we're going to talk about Noahide Laws. Maybe you've heard of it, or maybe you haven't. Maybe you already understand it, or maybe you don't. It's a very important issue. And as I keep saying, we are in the end. Right? And there's a lot of stuff out there misleading a lot of people. The ones who need to take the most concern are God's real people, the Christians, right? And I don't mean that every Christian is absolutely God's people. There's a lot of misleading stuff going on everywhere. And you may notice on some of our videos, we'll call out certain things. But I want to be clear, I'm not trying to pick on anybody's certain denomination. I'll say stuff a lot of times, pointing out stuff about Catholicism, and that's because I understand it more than I do most of the other denominations, because I was a part of it. But at no time am I telling you to step away from your church of choosing, or to tell you you're not saved or you're going to hell, right? I'm just making the facts known. I, like everyone else, learn every day. But we'll do good to help each other get through the confusion so that we can keep our eyes on the prize, right? But the point is, Christians, those who accept Christ, need to be the most concerned about today's subject, and need to be the most concerned about everything going on right now, everything around you going on right now. We're living in a great time of confusion, and a lot of us, they got us. Let's be clear, my thoughts on social media is that that's divination, right? Misleading a lot of people. Now we got even some churches using AI for confessionals. I tell you now, that is pure evil. But we all should stand for each other and help each other stay on track and not be misled. God has warned us that a great deception is coming, and even the very elect, if they do not guard their hearts, will be deceived. And it's easy when you step out away from stuff. I'm not saying that it's easy to do for everyone, but when you end up in a situation like I have, and you dedicate yourself to figuring this stuff out for myself, not for, not to say I got it more figured out than anyone else, to come up with the understandings I need. When you start stepping away from the ways of the world, a lot of this stuff starts making more sense. You start seeing how the deceptions are going, all that kind of stuff, right? But I want to be clear. I'm not, if I say something that offends you a little bit because I said something about your denomination, whether it be Catholic, Baptist, whatever, right? Orthodox, no, it's all I'm doing is pointing certain things out. It doesn't mean that your specific church is teaching these things, or that you're a member of that church and don't understand these things. You may have enough understanding of the Bible yourself. My whole point is that we all need to make sure that what we are being taught, what we are filling our minds with, is consistent with the teachings from our God, which is found in the Bible, which is not one book. It is formed into a book, which is a collection of many books from the history of man, right? It is a book about history that confirms ancient history and confirms the history of our God. Everywhere if you know how to look for it. These trains these days are now longer than ever, which causes a problem for the rest of the people, right? But it doesn't matter because now the government owns the train railways, right? For the most part. But there's people, I'm sure, back that way that are sitting, waiting for this train to get out of the way because it's now blocking the crossing because they're too long. It has to stop, of course, right? Because another train is coming one direction or the other, I suppose. That's how that works. They gotta give time for the other one to get through. But the thing is, they're making them so long as part of the greed. Instead of sending 2 trains, they'll do it all in one. They will stop it with all that weight sitting on top of this crumbling infrastructure. Viaduct that gets hit at least once a month by trucks. All the ground crumbling away, all this stuff cracking. Let's just sit all this weight on it. So anyways, first let's consider a few things about this ordeal going on with Iran. It was wrong the way we did it. And we got to understand that the people who pushed us to do that, the people in our government, every one of them, belong to these people. And they're a bunch of lunatics, maniacs, taking us to our destruction. You gotta understand what's going on over there. And this will come into play because this battle is going to turn most likely into all-out world war, which will then bring other things into fruition. It's very likely also that these nutcases are going to turn this into a nuclear war. Understand this war that's going on, we're wasting our military personnel's lives, and yet the flags are not at half-staff, but they were for a MAGA profit, right? And understand the way we're fighting this war, and we're going to be causing China and Russia to get involved by cutting off the oil supply over there. That's not going to go well. They're not going to put up with it. And we are spending millions of dollars, right? We've already lost hundreds of millions of dollars in jets to friendly fire. And you consider Iran is operating with, fighting with $30,000 to $50,000 drones, right? They smash one of these drones into something, cause stuff to blow up, and that costed them per drone $30,000 to $50,000, right? Meanwhile, we're fighting with $1 million missiles. It's just we're the ones paying for that, right? Millions of dollars to fight against some people that's smart enough to use $30,000 to $50,000, right? Per thing. And they're easier to transport them, get them around. Meanwhile, these great big $1 million missiles, it just don't add up. But we just need to consider that, because how this war plays out is most likely what's going to bring about, put into effect the Noahide Laws. Okay, so let's just get to the Noahide Laws. And you may have also heard of some people talking about a Sunday law coming. Well, when Noahide Laws goes into effect, Sunday law will also go into effect. And what that is you will honor the Sabbath day, but they're saying it's Sunday, which is not the actual Sabbath day. But you will be forced to obey it. Also, along with that is the mark of the beast. I appeal to you to look into this stuff. I'm going to just touch on it a little bit here to give you a little bit of understanding. But look further into this. We'll do maybe a better video on it when we have time to sit down and do it right. But it's a set of 7 laws, Noahide Laws, that's going to come into effect, is going to come into effect. It was a proclamation for it, in favor of it, was signed in the 80s by President Ronald Reagan. And, this is just one more thing about how MAGA, I guess, right? Or the Christian nationalism, all this fake Christian stuff that want to act like this politician or that politician's actually a Christian, understand what they are pushing for, okay? And you will understand who owns them. And in 1990, either 90 or 91, something like that, maybe 92, but I'm pretty sure it was 1990, America signed into agreement with the Noahide Laws. And if I remember, I'll try to post some of this stuff up there for it. It is, in fact, a real thing that's coming. And now, if you look into it, it's the 7 laws, right? No blasphemy, no eating a limb of a live animal, regular law and order, right? Courts. It establishes a righteous way of living. And these laws you have to obey. And they're going to go in effect. And you will obey them. Or face the consequences. The most important part of this is the idolatry. There will be no worshiping false idols. And no... like I said, no worshiping false idols and no blasphemy against God. Hold on though. What God? Right? Well, okay, let's consider this. The Noahide Laws come from are derived from parts of Genesis and the Talmud, however you say it, right? So you understand where this is coming from now. And who's pushing it? And it is going to happen. We're not the only nation that's already signed into agreement with this. America's already signed into agreement with it. That way when it goes into effect, it's already signed. When it goes into effect, we will be a part of it. And so you atheists, you're gonna believe in a God. You're gonna be forced to, right? Accept a God. But what God, right? Because this is gonna be okay for Islam. It's gonna be okay for the Druze. You gotta watch what you say there, I suppose. Already this subject's probably gonna get me hit. Pretty much it's all the gods, right? Except they're claiming that it's Allah. Allah's not our God, right? He's not the real God. If he was, they would recognize Jesus Christ, right? This is what it's coming down to. You will not blaspheme their God. You will not accept Jesus Christ. They are saying that is blasphemy, right? So Christians, beware. This is coming. And I'll see if I can find some clips to add to this. But this is the Noahide Laws that is coming into effect. Seven laws. And, on its face, it sounds good, right? No sexual immorality. Good. You know what? Good. Let's have that law into effect, right? So that next time someone cheats on you, take her ass out to the end of town and stone her to death, right? But that's not the way it's going to be. All this immorality will be still accepted. The point of the Noahide Laws is to end the hassle of dealing with Jesus Christ. And I assure you of that. Look into it. So you Christian nationalists, Christian Zionists, you people praising Trump or any other politician that's pretending to be on the side of Christians, even though they worship from the Talmud, from Kabbalah and all that stuff. All this is to be against Jesus Christ, to weed it out. This is how you know the times we're in. So those of you, maybe you're just becoming Christian, maybe you're considering it, understand what the price is going to be. First of all, already it's a struggle. Already you got to make sacrifices and face some hardships. A lot of people, but you got your people like Paula White laying their hands on the president, praying the demons for him, telling you the prosperity. Those days are long gone. Pay attention, because the Noahide laws are coming into effect. Don't say I didn't warn you. If you want any reason to turn away from Christianity, that's your reason right there. I don't advise you do it, but understand when that goes into effect, if you do not denounce Jesus Christ, they're going to cut off your head. I promise you that. It will be the death penalty for not denouncing Jesus Christ. So like I said, just look into this. Understand, if you're cheering on this war, what you're actually cheering for, what's coming about from it. And, like I said, on its face, the Noahide laws to a Christian don't sound bad, right? On the face of the value of it, but look deeper into it, right? Understand what the Talmud says about Jesus. I'm not talking about the Torah, I'm talking about the Talmud. These people are disgusting, and what they think about Jesus is disgusting. When you understand this stuff, you understand where they're going with these Noahide laws. It might sound good on the face of it, but there's something bigger, deeper, darker about it. Anyways, we thought we'd share that with you. Look into these things. You may want to ask your church where they stand on this. If they are for it, then you need to get rid of them. Get away from it quickly. And now would be the time to be asking your church where they stand on it. Don't wait till it's too late, right? Because if they say they're for it, then you need to turn away, walk away, and never look back. Let us know your thoughts. And if you have anything to add to it or not, let us know what you think. Or just say hello to whiskey. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. Let us hear the conclusion of the whole matter. Fear God and keep all of his commandments. And that is the whole duty of man. For God will bring every work into judgment with every secret thing, whether it be good, whether it be evil. See you.